Welcome.
Welcome to Switching Reels.
I was going to say that.
Hi, Connor.
Hi, Trenton.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm
Yeah?
good. Yeah.
Are you, perhaps, laying on a cat?
I genuinely don't know what joke you are going for here.
Something about lying on a king? That doesn't work very
No.
well. Well, it's laying on a bed works.
All right, we watched Lion King today.
What's Bach's favorite chicken? And that's how I tell that joke every time, because I always get it wrong. That's how most of my jokes go, that I make up on the spot.
Fair
Put
enough.
the punchline inside of the joke question.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, I've done that enough times that now I have to think through the joke like 4 times in my head before I'm like very sure that I am saying it the way I want to say it.
Yeah, nope. I have, for everything that I write goes through one version. And then I send it out to the world.
All right, I'm just going to... Hold on. That was going to bother me through the whole podcast.
Oh, good. You got it. Thanks. Appreciate it. Now I can see better, even though I don't know if I would have seen it.
It was just a little fiber that was on your glasses.
Oh.
And it was hanging into the
Fiber.
top part. Yes, I know, Trenton. You hardly know her. Anyway.
So we're I'm a little slap happy from, we just came out of so many Miyazaki movies, and like this is still animated, so that's a nice like easing into of.
I'll be honest, this is kind of jarring for me.
It was jarring for me too.
For multiple reasons. I think one of them is that we're coming out of the Miyazaki thing. I think one of the others is that I'm reading Game of Thrones right now.
Oh, interesting.
And so reading about Succession in that sort of light.
And then you see a
and
G
then I
movie
watch
on Succession.
And I'm like, this is far more straightforward.
This is very easy, actually, by this portrayal.
Not to say that this is without its sort of harrowing elements to it. We'll get into that past the spoiler wall. I have something controversial to say about this movie.
Whoa, stick around.
No, you don't even have to go over the spoiler wall for this one.
I just have to stick around.
All right, I'll get it over with so you guys can turn off the video or the podcast that you're listening to. No, I think that this movie is a masterpiece, but it would have been better if they had cut all of the sing-along songs.
So you couldn't feel the love tonight?
Yep. No.
You weren't prepared?
No. Yep.
Did you want to be king?
Nope.
Oh no. What about...
See, that one's not really a sing-along song. And I think you can, but I mean, I don't think people do. At least not accurately.
Yeah! That's completely correct. Yeah, I completely agree.
So,
what about Hakuna Matata?
Okay, and here's the other thing. I don't think that the songs are bad.
That makes sense.
I just don't think that they fit. I also don't think that like the visuals that go along with the songs are bad, because that's often where we're seeing some of the most striking imagery and that kind of stuff.
Really, really good visuals in the music.
But every time they go into one of those songs, I'm like, okay, now I'm just watching a music video. And then they get done with the song, and I'm like, oh, finally, we got back to the movie.
Time to get back to the plot. I'm excited.
And I like musicals. Like this is not something where it's like I'm one of the people that just can't stand musicals, and so this bothers me. This is just something where I'm bothered when a musical makes the plot grind to a halt for the sake of a musical number.
Yeah, if you're able to go and move the plot along with the musical number, I think you would like that better.
Yeah. And I mean, that's part of the reason we watched Sweeney Todd for one of the Halloween episodes. Every single one of those songs is like, it is progressing something, whether that's character development.
You forget it's a musical because it's
Right,
just like,
yeah.
oh, this is just part of the story.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason that I went into the Woods with such high expectations and was kind of disappointed by it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
they do stop a little bit. Not a lot, actually. The plot kind of just stops for a lot of those. Except for Nice at the end. That's going to be song.
Nice isn't at the end, is it?
I thought it's near the end.
Huh.
Nice was a pretty good plot moving one, though.
Yeah.
So, spoilers for Into the Woods, I guess.
Not really.
No,
we haven't spoiled anything.
And it's a musical.
Yeah.
So if you didn't know those two things, sorry.
I don't think that anyone should ever go into a musical and be like,
oh, I'm surprised this is a musical.
Right, I don't think that adds anything.
Because to see La La Land.
Yeah, La La Land is another one. Like, that one, I feel like most of the songs move the plot forward and move characters forward.
For characters is a big one for La La Land.
Yeah.
Like, you watch any of those songs and you're like, oh, this person is different now.
Right, yeah. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part, it's...
I really want to go and see that. I've had a craving for that movie for a while. I need to go watch it again.
I have too. Yeah.
Sounds like a bonus episode.
I think it's actually on the list somewhere.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I'll have to wait a few years.
Yep. I can watch it in the meantime on my own.
Yeah, I can too.
But yeah, so Lion King, I really think that it would have been improved if they had just cut the songs out. And that feels wrong to say, but that's my controversial take on this.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like I want to go and talk more about like the pieces that we may or may not be missing. So I'll go and rebuttal after the spoiler wall.
Fair enough.
Now you can stick around.
Yeah.
What is your enjoyment and technical for this movie?
That's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that I feel like is done really well, and it scratches an itch that no other movie can.
Yeah, like it's the itch that G like rating hits for people, along with a well-told story.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is that like there is just so much sort of awe and wonder.
Yeah,
but it's a very specific kind.
I agree.
And it's something where you go into this movie for the feel more than you go into it to watch the story play out.
Agreed.
I don't know. Like this is very difficult. I feel like it's anywhere from, if I'm being really harsh, it's an 8
on
enjoyment.
Oh, okay.
And if I'm being like way too forgiving, it's a 9.
Nice.
Or a 10.
Oh, okay, cool.
Sorry.
So I was like, that's light 8 to light 9.
I don't know. I'm gonna say that this is a light to a solid 8, probably.
Nice.
I'm gonna be a little bit more harsh, I think. Despite the fact that I walked away from this still having a great time.
And again, 8's
yeah.
not bad.
Yeah. No, it isn't.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Technical, I feel like I'm in the exact same place.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm being really forgiving, it's a 10, and if I'm being really harsh, it's an 8. And so I'm gonna say that's a solid 8 again.
Where would it be if there were no musical numbers?
At least at a 9.
Yeah, at least at a 9.
This is a minimum of a light 9.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Cool. I think I'm in a very similar boat. Like, my enjoyment of this one is probably actually like 8.5 to 9. I do like the musical numbers.
Yeah.
But not for any like deep reason. So it's gonna be fun to talk about it here in a second. Technical, I feel like you have some really great build up, and then the climax is a little rushed. So I'm gonna go with an 8.5.
Okay, that's fair.
I think
that's fair. So I think this is the part where we cross the moat on the drawbridge.
And my ladder. I get to climb that thing. You get to go through the drawbridge. And it's gonna be great. So please like, comment, subscribe if you like what we're doing, and if you don't, let us know what you do and don't like. Let us know what you want to see more of in these. If you want to hear about specific things,
yeah,
we'd love to know that. That's it.
For sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Spoiler wall is
crossed.
Up. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch the movie.
Yeah, I don't know where you've been if you haven't seen this. This is like an 87 movie, right?
No, I want to say this is early 90s.
Yeah, it could be 90. Like, a lot of things came out in 95.
It was 94.
Was it 94?
Yeah.
Just a little older than me. Ooh, it was 30 this year. Congratulations.
Oh. Maybe
Lion King.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, spoilers.
Spoilers.
I assume you have some sort of rebuttal.
It's not a really strong rebuttal. Like, it's... If you look at the audience this is aimed to, the musical numbers make a lot of sense. In my opinion, because, like, at least as a kid, I loved all of these songs. I was very happy to sing along to all of them, and they just gave my heart joy.
Yeah.
And so even if it didn't, like, do something nice and, like, crazy with the plot or the characters, I was very happy to sing along with all of them.
Some of this may be tainted by my... as I've gotten older, I have become... I'm just burning my own ship at this point. I have become more and more disenfranchised with Disney songs in general.
I did not expect that as to where this was going to go, but I see where you're going with it.
And so, like, it feels happy, but soulless.
Oh, interesting.
Which is why this movie in particular provides such a stark contrast, because the songs that are non-diegetic are incredible in this.
That was a beautiful word. What does that mean?
So diegetic sound is sound that can be heard by the characters.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got you.
And non-diegetic is
something basically by us, but not.
It's what most soundtracks are, right?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
We hear them, but the characters do not.
No. It's a description of the scene. Something that
it gives texture to the scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that song at the opening is incredible and creates great atmosphere.
So good.
And all of the scenes where like Simba is running somewhere, like every single one of those.
So good.
The soundtrack is just phenomenal and sets the stage perfectly for what's going on.
Yep.
And then we get songs like I Just Can't Wait to Be King, which, as fun as that song is, does not fit that tone whatsoever.
No, not really.
So I feel like what I love about this movie the most is like its sweeping epic feel, despite being a very like short, well told, no fat story.
Yeah.
And some of the songs kind of get in the way of that.
No, I see what you're saying.
That said, I would not cut a lot of the songs that are sang by characters in ways that are not scored at all.
At all.
Because they add so much to the characters.
They really do. And it's just lovely. You get the coconuts, you got Small World, you got the luau song, you got In the Jungle. I loved that. Like, so good.
All of those are so perfect.
Yes, I completely agree.
And they add to the characters so well. And yeah, I wouldn't cut those.
Yeah.
But
I am now realizing that what you could look at the music as is being very blunt implementations of where the character is in the moment. Like, I Just Can't Wait to Be King is like starkly contrasted with later Simba's mentality about kingship and like ruling.
Yeah.
And so you get some cool juxtapositions, but it's very heavy-handed. And again, I think that's for the audience and not for us watching this now. We could be like, ugh.
That's fair, but I am also one of those people that is very strongly in the camp of you make films to be good. You do not make kids' films to be just good enough for kids to watch. You make kids' films that are accessible for kids, but you still make good films.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like I could be partially in that camp, but if everything were exceptionally well told, I would get slightly bored.
You think?
I like having those like little pieces of interrupt. The like, oh no, I just ate way too much wasabi, which I don't think is a problem for you, but
that's not true.
Cool.
I'm like my 4th or 5th date with my wife. It had been way too long since I had had wasabi, and I was really excited. So we were getting sushi, and there was a big clump of wasabi, and I ate the entire thing in one bite.
Ooh.
And I almost threw up. I don't know if I inhaled some of it or something.
Just got somewhere bad.
I just remembered, like, it wasn't even the heat, right? Like, because I understand wasabi heat. I knew what I was eating.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, like, it kicked on my gag reflex, and I was like,
oh no. I feel like that was low-key points in your favor for Trinity, though. So I don't think that was a bad thing.
Most likely.
Well, that's fantastic.
And again, this is not one of those instances where I was like trying to prove how tough I am.
No.
Like, yes, I've done that as well, but not with that particular instance. I was just really excited for wasabi.
That's fantastic. I love that. But if every once in a while we hit that kind of like not perfectly refined thing in this world where we have Miyazaki's and we have Pixar, I'm okay with that, you know?
I mean, I'm okay with that being a thing. I don't like the mentality behind a lot of kids' movies where it's, you know, it's screensavers for children. Like, I mean,
I like screensavers for children.
That's actually, that's what has bothered me so much about the Despicable Me franchise, actually.
Yeah.
Those movies started out really
good.
solid.
Yeah.
And at this point, they're basically just churning them out to sell tickets to
Minions.
The children.
Exactly.
And expecting the parents will come along with them because, frankly, they will.
They will.
I mean, that's why this has been a viable business
I love
strategy.
The idea of childcare cinemas, though. It sounds great.
I wish they had existed when I was a kid.
No, because the movies that they would have shown there are like the most recent Despicable Me's.
I mean, sure, but when I was a kid, I didn't have the same taste that I have now.
True.
I had the seeds of it for sure, but not
hadn't grown yet.
Yeah. But yeah, that's actually something that I like about this movie as well, is like watching it again. It had been a few years since I had last seen this, and I realized how many jokes for adults were in it, not because they're doing like the, oh, we made a sex joke and the kids won't notice.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, wink. But because they don't really care if the kids get it.
Yeah.
Because the joke is fast.
So fast.
Moved on from so quickly.
I've noticed that more on this one as well.
Yeah.
Like, I had remembered it kind of, but it probably has been, I don't want to say a decade because I'm so old. But it's probably, I don't think I've seen it since I got married, and I don't think I watched it in college. So
yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time for me as well.
But like watching this again, I realized how funny Pumbaa was as a character. Like, I knew he was funny when I was a kid, but that's because I thought all the fart jokes were funny.
Yeah.
And now I watch it and I'm like, No, he's got
Oh.
the best throwaway
He's actually
throwaway lines.
lines in this entire. It's so good. Also, though, like Timon has some really good, like just like fast one-liners.
Right? Yeah.
Like I almost like if I had been in just a slightly different mood, the what's eating you? Nothing. He's at the top of the food chain. That would have sent me just dying. Like that's such a bad good joke. Like it's just great. It's just and then you wait for a second and you're like
and Rafiki as well.
oh my gosh, Rafiki was really funny.
He actually had me dying.
Yes, you were like legitimately laughing and I was like, no, this is funny. This is like he
It's the perfect like I'm going to impart wisdom, but I'm going to do it in a way that I find funny.
Exactly.
Kind of characters, and those always get to me.
Absolutely. Like and you always remember, at least I remembered pretty well, the like I've been running for my past for so long. What am I gonna do? And then Rafiki baps him with his stick. Like, how would you do that for? It doesn't matter, it's in the past. Still hurts. Yes, the past can hurt. Like that's one of the that's like if you've grown up in America, that's one of the like lessons you learn from Lion King ever. Like, yes, the past hurts. You can run from it or you can learn from it.
Yep.
It's great.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, I really don't know what to say. Like it was beautiful, like very well done.
I have two more questions that I can go and extend this conversation with.
Go for it.
One, what's your summary?
Oh,
for any of those that haven't seen or have seen but want to have a shortened version of The Lion King.
This is Hamlet with an extended exile section, and all the characters are animals.
Nice.
In Africa. Nice. What's your summary?
I was about to make a really snarky remark of where else do animals live? And I'm glad I caught it right before I said it, because I was like, wait, that's not right.
I kind of wish that you had said it.
I know. It's the one time I catch it before I say it. And my brain was just like, that's a little too illogical, actually. I can't let this one through.
I mean, there is something about the fact that, like, I feel like as people who live in the United States, we only see the same, like, set of animals unless we go to a zoo or something specifically to see animals that are from Africa.
Exactly.
Like,
it's a freaking elephant.
Yeah. Well, if it's an African elephant, not an Asian elephant.
It's a freaking Asian elephant.
Well, then it's from Asia. Trenton, you can't do this to me.
So I think there's also another Call to Exile adventure instead of Call to Adventure. So,
we can't explain that inside joke. That would take too long.
No, I can just link to the last episode that I made the Call to Exile joke.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was for Princess Mononoke.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Check out Princess Mononoke.
I've already forgotten that. I thought you were talking about my...
You're about to go into it.
I was about to go into it, but again, it would take too long to explain.
If you want to know Connor's take on this one, let us know and we'll make it short. It'll be fun. Might be a collection of longs, but
yeah.
So
this movie is a call to exile.
This movie is a call to exile. It follows the monarchy of the Pride Lands around Pride Rock with a lion. He's the monarch, and then he has a son with his queen wife, and everywhere that the light touches is his land except for the spot that's inadvertently dark for some reason, and the sun still touches it, but like we kind of ignore the fact that it touches it. And then the uncle wanted to be king, and so he kills the dad, and then kind of like emotionally abuses the son into running away. And then I guess he becomes a hippie and doesn't eat normal animals. He only eats bugs because those are worse kinds of animals and don't have brains in this movie specifically. And
Bugs also
then-
don't have brains, but continue.
I think some bugs have brains. No bugs do?
Ganglia.
Sounds inappropriate. And then the love interest finds him and she pounces on him in a G movie. And then he goes and talks to the wise elder guy and talks to his dead dad. Then he goes home again and he kicks his uncle into a fire. And then the hyenas eat the uncle. And then he has a son with the love interest, I think.
How did you just make the Lion King sound boring?
I wanted to try a new style. It accomplished what I wanted.
Don't comment in the comment sections about that. I'm just going to make the executive call here. Don't do that anymore.
I think my wife will like it. So I'll show it to her, and if she likes it, I'll continue to do it.
Don't do it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Lovely. And then next question. Ranking for best characters in the movie. Top 3.
Rafiki,
Nice.
Mufasa,
Nice.
Timon.
Oh,
No,
okay.
not Timon. Pumbaa. Sorry.
Pumbaa.
Yeah.
Mufasa's in there?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Rafiki,
All right.
Ed, and
Ed's pretty good.
Pumbaa.
Ed's pretty good. He didn't have enough lines though.
That's the point.
He wasn't paid by SAG-AFTRA, or he wasn't in the union, the SAG-AFTRA union.
What?
Oh, okay. SAG-AFTRA is the Actors Guild.
Why is it such a long acronym? SAG-AFTRA. SAGAFTRA. That's so big.
Yeah,
Society of Actors going after fair. It's like
I
Tra.
I don't know the history well enough to tell you for certain. It wouldn't surprise me if at some point a union called SAG and a union called AFTRA combined to
makes
be
sense.
SAG-AFTRA. But I do know that the rules surrounding it are, if you're not in the guild, and a movie is partnering with the Actors Guild, which almost every movie has to, your actors, if they're not in the guild, can't have any lines.
Whoa.
Yeah. So if you see, like,
That's weird.
that's why, like, extras almost never have any actual lines, even when it might make sense for somebody to shout out from a crowd or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Wow. Yeah, it's super rare to see. And if you do see it, it's almost always because somebody, like, there is some smaller actor that is also in the guild that is doing it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So anyway, the
Good to know.
joke being that Ed only had laughing because
he wasn't part of SAG-AFTRA. I love that. That's a good joke.
Yeah. All jokes are better when you explain them.
I think so. I think they're funnier.
No, then they just change. The explanation becomes the joke.
Yeah. That's been, yes, I completely agree. All right. Any themes we want to touch on in this one? I think the primary one is the whole, like, your past doesn't define you.
Your past doesn't define you, and I do feel like this is one of those, like, calls to be honorable over self-serving.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
yeah,
interesting.
like there's a very strong thread of responsibility
Yeah, there is.
through this.
Yeah. And, like, who you are is being responsible.
Or at least or at least you are required to face up to your responsibilities, which is, see, part of the reason that it's hard to what's the word when something is it diversify?
Probably.
Yeah, anyway, part of the reason it's hard to spread this to a more common, like,
Democratized?
no.
Okay.
That's not the word. But part of the reason that this is hard to apply to just a normal, like, hey, you're just an average person.
Mm-hmm. Generalized?
Kind of generalize, yes. That's the word I was looking for. Is because this movie is very clearly focused on a monarchy system.
Yeah, exactly. And the main character is an heir to the
born
monarchy.
She's born into responsibility.
Exactly.
And so most of us are not born into any particular responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
There are some broader ones that we're born into, but that's more like, hey, this is how you function with other people, kind of things.
Totally.
Less, you have a very specific calling that has been given to you from birth that you are expected to do by everyone else.
Exactly.
So
I do like how this one does really have the emphasis, though, on even though, hey, you do have this responsibility, it's okay that you dropped it for a little while. Like the whole, the past, like there's a couple times where it'd say, like, you can't do anything to change the past. And normally they use it as an excuse to not do anything in the present. But Rafiki flips that a little bit, or like, yeah, you can't do anything that's in the past, but you can learn from it and change yourself now,
right?
Which I think is a really cool, like, just subtle twist to what Timon and Pumbaa were espousing.
Yeah, because there is some truth to the whole Hakuna Matata thing as well, and so I really appreciate that it's like it does the opposite of what Fight Club does.
Okay, good. We brought in Fight Club. Let's go.
So, Fight Club, we talked about how the themes are sort of building up this worldview that rejects capitalism and disenfranchisement.
Yeah.
But then the second half of it is all breaking it down. And this, instead of doing that, takes pieces from one and says, oh no, that's not quite right. Let's tweak and make it right. And tweak and make it right.
Yeah.
And so it becomes more accurate the further through the movie you get.
That's really cool.
At least the theme that the story is trying to tell, it narrows in on a particular point.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. Good, again, for a kids movie. Like, the small, like, hey, here's this
especially for one that's like 80 minutes long.
I know.
It's insane how much movie this thing packs into.
So much movie into this, which does take me to my, like, one technical nitpick, which is very shortly after Can You Feel the Love Tonight, you could get a really rushed, I would probably say the rush starts after his conversation with Rafiki. You have, oh, this is the right thing to do, so I'm going to do it, and then everything just falls into place. Which I don't think is actually all that bad. It just feels rushed. Like, we had a pacing up to this point, and then we changed the pacing in the last 20 minutes.
It does, but I really think it works.
I think it works as well. It grates on me.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I look at this movie and I'm like, oh, even though actually I probably wouldn't have noticed it if I didn't, like, make our intermission in that last 20 minutes. I think you're probably right that if I hadn't noticed that it was only 20 minutes left, I would have been like, good, we're done. This is fine
about 10 minutes left.
Yeah, I know. There's so little time left in the movie at that point.
But yeah, that is one of my favorite sections, and I think part of the reason is because it doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
It's very much like Simba's coming back. He faces everything in his past. He immediately has the confrontation with the big bad, and the story ends.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no real falling action in this. Like there's maybe a minute or two.
Exactly. Falling action is Scar falling.
That was bad. That's so bad. I think that might have done me in.
I killed it. I do like the juxtaposition as well between like there is the faction of like, hey, I'm taking responsibility and I know the weight of that responsibility, and the character who's like, I desire the power and status that this position offers me and I don't care for the responsibility.
I mean, I think one thing that this movie does really well is it doesn't juxtapose, it parallels Simba's feeling on being a king at the beginning with Scar's feeling of being a king at the end.
Whoa, you do a really good point there. I love that. I feel like it's a foil, but I don't know if that's true or not.
It could be.
Barely.
It could be. Because Scar doesn't change at all through that.
No.
And Simba has changed completely.
He gets torn apart.
His opinion does not change on the matter. And Simba changes basically entirely separated from Scar.
True.
Which is why I feel like it's not a foil. Maybe it is. I don't know.
That's a good emphasis. Yeah. Regardless. I learned that and you may actually already know this, where we get the foil from is the reflective foil that was put behind gems to go and reflect light back through the gem again to make it more shimmery.
Oh, I did not know that's where that came from.
And that's where foil comes from. It's something to go and make emphasis on a point that you want to go and drive home.
Huh.
Normally it's used for characters, where a character is a foil for another character, but...
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting bit of information.
There you go. Alrighty. What are we watching next week?
I believe next week is The Departed. Which...
Do we need to get tickets?
I do not know the joke that you are trying to say right now.
To get to someone that's departed, you have to be on the plane with them.
Departed as in dead, my man.
Oh.
Departed
as in... get funeral spots?
No. I have the movie.
Cemetery spaces?
I have the movie, Trenton.
What's the... Cemetery plots. There it is.
Okay.
Thank you all for being with us.
Yeah, so
Departed next week.
I think so.
Hold
on. Let me make sure, because I feel like I might be being stupid. No, I was right.
No, I think you're right. I think we get to finally jump into another R-rated movie again after 4 or 5 months of...
This one's in my top 5.
Wow.
It's at number 5, but...
it's at number 5. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So...
And was Dark Knight in there?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, was it 3?
Number 3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we've watched 2 of my top 5 so far.
And we will watch a 3rd?
Yes.
Nice.
So.
What was your other top 5?
Memento is number 1 and Alien is number 4.
And then what's your number 2? Godfather.
Yeah.
Cool. Gotcha. That's awesome.
So.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. All right. Well then, how do we end this?
With thunderous applause.